ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, Betway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew Leaf, MSI, and ESEA.
Another day in Dallas. In fact, our first day for the ESL Pro League Finals. It's where we culminate all of the Counter-Strike that's been going on across the European, North American, APAC, and Latin American regions. We mash it all together, and we see who will rise to the very top. We've mixed things up on the desk now. I do have Jacob Pimp Vinica joining me, as well as Chad Sponge Birchill. One of them is a little easier to pronounce than the others. Sorry, Chad, it's just a little bit of a mouthful.
Sorry, Matt. Yeah, no, I have to work on my alias. Maybe we'll change it.
Yeah, I've been working on
change
it for a while.
Spud.
Spud?
Yeah.
I actually kind of like that. Chad Spud Birchill.
Yeah,
why does that roll? That feels good. That feels right.
That's going to take off.
It does.
The new nickname.
Yo, Spud.
Hey, Spuddy.
I had a high school friend called Spud. You can't really have that. Sorry.
Spud.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about some Counter-Strike. What's your take on this matchup that I don't know what it is?
It's Renegades versus Space Soldiers.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, but this is the one that I was looking forward to going into Sydney. This was meant to be the opening matchup there, but Space Soldiers obviously visa issues, and I was like, yeah, cool. We're going to get it this time. Renegades get tested, see if they can continue the, I guess, form that they showed in Sydney. Now, Space Soldiers thrown another spanner in the works.
If that just happened like 5, 6
That's
seconds
right.
earlier.
You could have just left. You didn't need to say you didn't know.
How am I supposed to know? Like, genuinely.
You could have just been like, Chad, break us down to this matchup.
How do you know? Are you looking at a third-party website? Is that the only way you know who's playing next?
Oh, we got notes.
But who told you that? Where'd you get that information?
At the start of the show that you went over.
You wrote it all down, did you?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's very hard to keep track of what game's next.
Anyway, the point is, I'm still disappointed because Space Soldiers have a stand-in old mate Despy. Now, he's played for Space Soldiers before in the past. I was speaking to Yanko about it. He was like, when they used to pug back in the day, this guy, like, everyone thought he was like a cheater because he used to be so good in the pugs. He hasn't played a match for a team since November last year.
Jesus.
So coming into this matchup, we have another caveat. We have to, put another little star next to it. Normally with Renegades, when they have a good tournament, the next one they suck at. So I don't know what's going to happen in this one.
But what I don't understand is how can he get a visa and Calix
Calix has a special type of passport where he can only have a visa for up to 3 months, whereas the rest of them all got visas for E-League that last maybe, I don't know how long.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Especially considering he is one of the hard hitters. He's one of the big conversation topics, Jacob, where we sit there and go, Paz, Xantares, Calix, right? That's the names that roll off your tongue.
I'll probably say he's the second best player in Space Soldiers without a doubt. I have the honor to play against him in FPL quite a lot, and he's the same puck hero as Despis. Like, he's probably one of the best players in there. He always turns off heads and plays some sick Counter-Strike, so they're definitely gonna miss him, especially in a game against the Renegades where it is very even in terms of skill from both teams. They're gonna miss a little bit of firepower there.
God, Despa has been inactive as hell.
Yeah, but I guess if you're still playing Counter-Strike up to a decent level, you're still playing within the pug realm, you're keeping good form, right? So in the scheme of things, he's going to be able to deliver on the scoreboard. This is where it just comes down to the maps. Now, we've looked at Space Soldiers in the past as a relatively structured unit. Cobblestone was a map that they thrived on. It just depends on where this one's going to get driven. Now, if you're Renegades, you're happy if you get with an Inferno or a Mirage, something along those lines. The thing is, they can be brawly maps. That's where players can just take over, and that's where maybe like a guy like Xantares can turn around his poor land performance in the last event and have a blinder of a game this time round. And in the best of ones, I always get scared for my Australian brothers.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, we can actually start doing that, talking about those vetoes. I mean, the best of one is when things do tend to get rather...
Juicy? Spicy?
Predictable. So... No Cobblestone in the pool. Probably not going to see Dust 2, Jacob. I mean, how does this conversation end?
No nuke. No, I mean, Mirage and Inferno, as you alluded to, could be two great maps for both teams. I do feel Renegades have gotten better, though, especially in the best of one scenarios. More consistent, and here we go.
They just got a free veto there because Renegades don't play Overpass either. So the fact that they didn't have to worry about that one, they'd be quite happy with.
They're probably going like, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
That was my Australian accent. It sounded very British, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, same thing.
But here we go. And there it is.
Inferno, called it.
They had the choice. Renegades floated Dust 2 that deep. That's something which probably will come into play later in the tournament. That's something we can talk about definitely as it progresses. Teams being brave enough to allow that. I think we're going to see a lot more Dust 2 this time around than we did in the last event.
That feels ballsy to me, Jacob.
I don't quite understand it because the Renegades haven't really had any time to practice it. just were at Sydney. He's been home for, what, 4 days maybe in LA to practice. So it must be like a gut move on knowing that Spatial haven't played it at all in that scenario. So it's interesting, but if they can put it into the map pool, especially going into a best of 3, then that could be annoying for the teams going up against them.
In a best of 1, floating a map you've never played, I don't care how much you think your opponent might. That just feels like a horrible roll of the dice and closing your eyes.
Yeah.
Fortunately for them, doesn't necessarily get punished, and we will be seeing another Inferno.
Do you remember when we saw Renegades play Inferno last time, Alex?
Oh, gosh, yes.
50 dropped 50.
I remember 7,000 Australians chanting his name, and I got a little bit emotional.
Nifty.
Nifty.
It was great. It was all good. It was good fun. But I think, you know, that attests to the fact that it can be a struggle for Renegades. When I have seen Space Soldiers play this map, they've looked solid. The stand-in is the issue. On the CT side, they should be able to put up a brick wall of a defense. No issues there. Everyone knows how to throw the grenades. Everyone knows how to play the rotations. I was talking to Cassard after a couple of their wins in Sydney about, you know, their T-side strats on Inferno. And it looks like, you know, it's just fast rushes and these quick plays. But actually, there's a lot of thought process that goes into it and special flashes that he pointed out to me. So hopefully, as the week goes on, I'll get to show everybody these at home.
And Jacob, the closing thoughts are with you. Is just the loss of a 5-man roster from Space Soldiers enough for you to kind of lose faith in this matchup being close?
Nah, I would say I think it's going to be a close one. I do think Renegades have gotten a lot better throughout both the NA season in Pro League, but ever since they got Jacob, we were alluding to that's not going to be the greatest pickup. He's not as good as Nafly, obviously, but they made it work. Big ups to Cassard as well for making that work. So I think it's going to be a close one. I will say though, I have Space Shoulders as my small favorites in this one. As you said, I would say Shantaris and the firepower of this Space Shoulders squad is enough to stop these fast Renegades pushes all over the map.
Okay, well, I mean, let's not forget, Space Soldiers offline. We had huge expectations coming into Marseille. They go into what map first? Inferno, and it's a 16-2. We got to see them win 2 rounds in their offline debut, and now they step into the arena again. Same map, different opponent. Let's see if they can change the results as well. Renegades versus Space Soldiers with your casters. Take it away.
Yeah, very interesting matchup coming ahead of us here. Obviously, Renegades and Space Soldiers were supposed to meet at IEM Sydney. Didn't quite get to see that matchup, but now get to see it here on Inferno. Renegades starting off on the CT side and Space Soldiers with a sub. A lot of interesting storylines coming into this first matchup.
Yeah, there really are. I think everyone's kind of holding their breath and seeing what Nifty we're going to get. If we're going to get that same Nifty. You got to cast that match. That had to have been pretty wild for you. Starting out, though, pretty heavy strategy towards ult mid for Space Soldiers. A 4-1 setup. Major displaying some courage and holding Banana all on his lonesome. Over at the base, over by the logs, and the rest of Space Soldiers taking over these A-halls, pushing back any kind of aggression on this side of the map, but not committing anywhere. And there is a B stack for the Renegades. 3 players here, and they're showing no indication of wanting to bust it up. They're going to keep all 3 players there until the end of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be a bit of a problem here for the Renegades. They haven't, like you said, decided to do anything over on B. They have no information into Banana, and the A-bomb site right now, if Space Soldiers hit that, a lot of work to be done by Nifty and Ustillo over there, so there's definitely some work to be done.
Nifty and Graveyard as well, you can't get out of that spot, so that's got to be very careful. And a lot of faith in him and Ustillo to be able to hold on to this, and it's not being rewarded quite yet as Ustillo cannot find a follow-up.
But at the very least, Ustillo's got some good positioning now over on that A side of the map. Needs to wait for the rotations to come across here. Major pushing forward will shut down Jacob. And obviously, that's going to be a big problem now for the Renegades. They can't really make any inroads into this A-bomb site, 3 versus 4. It's going to be very tough for them to get their way in here now.
That doesn't seem like there's a whole lot for them to do. Ozza spots one. He's got to hit that kill immediately. 3 players box into the bomb site. That might be the only saving grace, but it doesn't matter if Santerres is going to drop JKS, and Ustillo is not going to make the push with 21 HP and his teammates gone, and it's all over from here. And this is just the circumstance. Not enough information from Renegades, keeping 3 players over at that B bomb site. It's hard to hold A with 3 players on itself, and if you keep 2 players there for the whole round, you can see without the information, Jacob has no idea Major has pushed up towards Library. That's an easy kill for him, and once that goes down, that's pretty much the round sealed right there.
Just really needed to see like another sort of kill on the entry there for the Renegades. Had they been able to get 2 here instead of just the 1, maybe there's a bit more of a chance with you still holding on to the apartments. But in the end, obviously, Space Soldiers just had far too many players over on that A-bomb site of the map. I mean, just the pistol round, not the biggest of deals just yet for the Renegades. Obviously, they decided to force into this round, so we'll see if they can make something happen here with those pistols and armor.
Yeah, Nifty, the only one keeping any sort of bank whatsoever. Obviously going to want to have that AWP out as soon as possible. I'm sure we'll get plenty of references to his 50 kill game throughout this, but we'll just bring it up for a second time real quick here. Again, Nifty and Ustillo over towards the A bomb site. 3 players stacked towards B, and only JKS with any nades to speak of at this moment for the Renegades. So that idea of being able to stall out some of these hits until later on and force Space Soldiers into some kind of an awkward CZ stack is not going to pan out.
He's over towards that B side, but Space Soldiers, as of yet, not particularly interested. Just getting some control of Banana and deciding to rotate back across. So it does seem, again, to be a very, very similar round that we're about to witness here as Space Soldiers make their way once more towards the A-bomb site. Just slowing things down, making sure they're not going to be taking anything too risky as they throw those utilities in there. Might as well use them if you've got them. And now the Ghost Signal has been given to the Space Soldiers. They make their way in to the side, and just a couple of players there for the Renegades once more, down to Nifty and Ustillo. We'll see if they can make anything happen here, but it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to work. Took a little bit of time to get rid of Nifty there, but in the end, all's well that ends well for Space Soldiers. No real harm done for them.
That was an awkward-looking fight. It's weird. This 3-man stack over towards B, I just kept an eye on it. Even when Space Soldiers was using utility towards A, no one budged for Renegades. And obviously, a second round like this, you kind of have to take a gamble in that sense if you want to find some kind of miracle to win it. But I mean, if you go back towards the pistol round, that'll be something to keep your eyes on when the pressure does get applied towards A in the gun rounds. If there's a 3-man stack at B, when does Renegades decide to cheat a player back? At the moment, it's kind of bitten them twice early on in this map. But not giving up any more kills to these MAC-10s to the UMP, not giving away any more bonus money. Engine on the hunt at the moment, and he could walk right into the trap, but looking like he may not go that far. Yeah. So a quick 2-0 for Space Soldiers. Ooh, hello.
It's a nice shot from Azza, but you're not going to be even able to retrieve that MAC-10, so not really too big of a deal. Yeah, not a bad start for Space Soldiers, obviously, but really at this point, I think for Renegades, just waiting to get that gun round underway.
Yeah, it's just kind of about grinding these rounds out, isn't it? And just kind of putting up with the losses, staying focused and all that. You see Kassad back there, just chilling. And yeah, when they get Nifty on the AWP, I think that's when they're going to want to start making their play. And that'll be the interesting thing. If he still has the, like, if something kind of unlocked in his head on this map and he kind of goes back to that aggressive, you know, find the opening kills, that's when we can see AWPers on this map being effective. It's when they're usually very, very hesitant and more patient and staying far back. The opening kills in this map for an AWPer, it sometimes get dicey in the mid round, but early rounds are ruled by the AWPers.
Well, the thing for Nifty was that when they were actually playing on this against Mouse Sports, it took him pretty much the whole map to actually get going. And I don't think that Renegades can really afford that in a best of one sort of scenario. You need to kind of start off well here on the CT side.
Oh, Xantares, I believe, spotted Jacob, definitely clearing it out. Pop Flash comes in, but he's positioned himself well to find some safety early on, and look at all the utility now coming out. Good nade from Renegades. It's not going to be enough, though, and actually some team damage, but at least holding them back at this juncture, keeping them bottled on the choke point.
Yeah, the Molotov also missed sandbags there as well, so it allows Jacob to survive. He doesn't actually have to push out. So it's basically going as well as it could be right now for the Renegades, but once again, Space Soldiers are just going to read the play and make their way back over to the A-bomb site.
Yeah, they didn't want to mess with that whatsoever. And once again, for the third time in this in these 3 rounds, they're going to find an A-bomb site with just Ustillo and Nifty here.
2 USPs as well, not even the upgraded pistols. So that's a little bit difficult for the Renegades. Well, again, we'll see if they can manage to make anything happen. It's maybe 3rd time's the charm for the Australians, and that's not the start that you want to the round, as Major does spam Azza through the smoke. Renegades, once again, just going to try and hold on to the A-bomb site. But realistically speaking, again, this is not their round.
No, they have no real chance. It would have been nice to maybe just get 1 or 2 kills, but that's not going to happen, not even close. 3-0 for Space Soldiers. They have a big lead here. A lot talked about coming in with the ringer due to visa issues. And here we're going to get their first real big test with Nifty on the AWP. We're going to see 3 M4s, a 4th being bought just now for Renegades. So they get to go up against all the rifles.
Yeah, be interested to see if JKS is going to pick up that secondary AWP as well later on down the track. Obviously, it would be a little bit early to kind of pull that out of the hat just yet.
He was nasty with that at
exactly.
City, wasn't he?
It's not something that we used to see him do a whole lot, so I don't know if it's going to be still in the playbook there for the Renegades, but who knows? Space Soldier's going to change things up a little bit. So too the Renegades, this time starting to take a little bit more aggressive control of the banana, which is obviously allowed by the utility that they've got in this round.
Yeah, there's Nifty as well, being aggressive in towards lane. Ustillo misses an opportunity, calls it out. There's Azza with the support, saves him. And Nifty inside the bomb site. We've seen this before, and he's going to hold it down so well. Fast shot, but he's taken out. Azza's still here, though, and there's really no opportunities for Space Soldiers to get back into this round, and JKS is going to end it with a quick flank. Nice hold from Nifty. 3 kills for him, including the opening.
Yeah, worrisome signs perhaps there for Space Soldiers if Nifty can continue that form through forward. However, they have dropped the AWP, and he's going to have to get that one pegged back over to him.
Kind of like that call from Space Soldiers, though. This is a pretty fast hit towards the A bomb, so you can see 1:30, so they didn't waste any time getting control of these A hulls. So they said, you know what, we've seen a relatively weak defense at the A bomb site. Let's see if it's going to happen again. Let's see if that'll be a trend that we can take advantage of, trying to catch Renegades in a slow rotate to bring that third player back. This time, though, Nifty going to change his position. Now becomes the second point of danger for these Alpers. If they have effect over at the A bomb site, move over towards B. Xantares almost burns alive. Surely a nade's going to clean him out. But it comes in just late.
Just a little bit too late. But still a lot of damage done early on in the piece by the Renegades here. And Space Soldiers not quite controlling this as much as they had been in the first 3, which is to be expected. Nifty, you want to be seeing him rotate his position like this. It's what he was doing up against Mouse Sports. He was having a lot of impact on Banana over on A. And again, so far against Space Soldiers, well, not at least in this round, but last round, he's been looking good. That's a nice opening. Good sharp shot.
Just a dry challenge from Xantares, which might make you scratch your head. Only 10 HP left on him, so it's not the biggest loss in the world. He was going to be an easy kill for the M4s. The cool thing is Renegades playing an aggressive defense up towards top mid as well, as Major takes control of Banana, tries to force them back into the bomb site, which has succeeded, but no commitment in this 4-on-5 and plenty of utility. Nifty going to drop a smoke and just fall away. Bombs down at T-ramp, but Paz and Despe are still challenging in Boiler and Brackets.
Not too much time left to work with here for Space Soldiers. Ticking away, 35 seconds on the clock, and Paz seems to have some sort of knowledge that Jacob is there and almost gets timinged, but in the end he will be able to find the kill. Still, the subsequent follow-up grenades here for the Renegades to slow things down for Space Soldiers, and that's exactly what they want to be doing right now. Azza, what a great two-man spray down. Does try and get the repeak onto the third, but still, the damage is done there by the Renegades, and now a 3 versus 2 with 15 seconds. A double smoke out from Space Soldiers as well. The pressure is on. Ustillo through the smoke, does shut them both down. The bomb is dropped, and that's a very good round actually out for Renegades.
Really nice call from Ustillo as well to go right through that smoke, get aggressive. I thought it was dangerous, and Azza goes for that repeak, leaving Ustillo and Pit all alone. A lucky shot, and all of a sudden Space Soldiers would have had the advantage from a 2-on-3 into a 2-on-2. Regardless, a good second round from Renegades, and they've been able to build up some money as well behind some of these victories. Starting to climb. A really nice spray transfer from Azza, I think, gave him that last bit of confidence to go for the repeak, and they forced Space Soldiers back onto just the pistols. Very light utility, 3 smokes. Decent amount of flashbang, so obviously coming into this with a plan, but now that the AWP is on the board, they seem to be a little bit more hesitant, struggling a little bit more to gain some of that map control they obviously want to have early on.
This time Renegades not going to allow them straight up into top mid. Smoke down to slow things, but like you said, Space Soldiers, they seem to be setting themselves up for something over on the A-bomb site here, so they might not necessarily be bothered by having to wait a little bit. The flashbang does come through. Nifty forced off the angle, but he's going to be able to get out of there okay. And this really now does come onto the rifles on the bomb site. Azza gets the first with the incendiary. Will be traded out, but Ustillo is still here and still able to do damage. At the end of the day, that's not too bad of an anti-eco there for the Renegades. Just the one loss. JKS shuts it down.
He's ready for that Major to come right back. There was no way forward for Major, obviously, as well. Another fast-paced strategy designed to kind of take advantage of maybe beating a rotation back from the B-bomb side from Space Soldiers. This time, it doesn't even come close to working. Nice hold from Azza initially, and Ustillo took some time for him to convert over towards the bomb side as he saw that kind of shoulder peeking out from from May Hulls, and wanted to make sure he kept that under wraps. 3-3, we're all tied up as Renegades start to build into this game. Nifty gonna go for the peek down mid. No one to challenge him. No op out yet for Space Soldiers. Maybe choosing not to have it. And Major's gonna make good progress on Banana, but might start burning. He's so close to the flames. He can't move. Pop flash coming over. One player's blind, but he still hasn't made his move.
Yeah, but that's a lot of Banana control that Renegades have been trying to take throughout the first few gun rounds that now this time is in control of Space Soldiers. So it's a little bit of an advantage coming into the 7th round for them. Something that they haven't had in the last couple of gun rounds.
Still don't have as much as they want. Obviously, they want to gain control of sandbags. They want to gain control of that car, and it looks like they want to challenge it when that smoke clears. And Nifty, we're going to see him hold this angle very frequently. He gets the leg shot. A very tight angle. No chance for a rebuttal from Space Soldiers, so good early damage. And you've got Azza here to support as well, in case he feels too pressured. As Space Soldiers, they line up quite well for a mid-hit, but Azza's going to shut it down before it even begins.
Yeah, Paz just going out there on his own, and Azza very, very happy to take that challenge. Seems like Azza's having a good game today, at least so far from what we've seen. He really hasn't had too many problems when he's had that rifle in his hands, which bodes well for the Renegades. It's not going to be just the Nifty show here on Inferno this time. Perhaps we do get a bit more of a show as Space Soldiers, well, that's a good entry from Engine. But still 2 players on this B bomb side that Space Soldiers have to find, and with 30 seconds left on that clock, it's going to be tough. JKS does go down, and now onto Jacob, but he can't land the 2-man spray down, which is what he needed. That will open things up here for Space Soldiers. Major watching the rotation as well. This round is not looking fun if you're a CT side.
There's a chance, though. I mean, there's only 15 HP defending this bomb site. If they speed this up, they should know that there's at least a one-on-one here. I'm not sure why Renegades is taking so much time to challenge Despe in the bomb site, but Major's here now. Now it should be all over.
Yeah, well, it is. Major gets the 2 frags. Incendiary just a little bit out late from Renegades there.
I guess they just didn't have the proper communication to know that there was just one player defending that B bomb site. That was the perfect opportunity in the low HP scenario. I mean, you just risk it. You just say, all right, well, we know we've got a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1 here at this B bomb site. Someone just has to take that fight and see if they win it. And then you put Major on the back foot. But because he was able to get in position, have plenty of time, he could play it calmly. And that's a 4th round for Space Soldiers. They just barely keep the lead by 1. And we're going to get a timeout here, I believe, from Renegades to talk things over. Yeah, it's their first of the game.
Yeah, I don't think their money's quite perfect at the moment, so just figuring out what they want to go for in this round.
That was a really sick kill onto Nifty. I mean, that was 2 players for Space Soldiers taking on 3 players at the B bomb site and actually winning all those fights. Even the boost kind of, they spammed it, but it still caught them off guard. They just barely missed it. And still able to take the bomb site. That's really well done from Space Soldiers right here. And
yeah. Well, that was really the opening that they needed, wasn't it? Like, if they don't get that kill on a Nifty, they don't get that round.
Which is, I was actually surprised that Nifty wasn't a bit more aggressive. I mean, I know it's easy in hindsight to kind of mention that, hold in the angle. He rotated back. He'd obviously given presence over at A with that leg shot in towards Boiler Stairs. I thought he was going to catch Space Soldiers off guard, but it wasn't to be, and this is what you love to see out of Nifty. And actually, maybe a misread from Space Soldiers. 2 MAC-10s on the board.
Yeah.
Now, there is Alza and Jacob no head armor, and there is Nifty without armor whatsoever, so they can still be effective, but maybe Space Soldiers thinking they should have an easier round than they are about to have.
We'll see what happens here, as it does look like they're going to be peeking right into Nifty's line, but he decides to go aggressive at fairly inopportune moment, although that will give it away to Space Soldiers. They're going to see that up. They're going to know what's going on here. Renegades have perhaps bitten off a little bit more than they might have expected here. That smoke's a little bit interesting. But JKS gets some good timing there. 1 for 1. Needed Azza to get a little bit more there, though. Space Soldiers now cleaning things up, and in the end, the round looks almost perfect for Space Soldiers. You get 2 MAC-10s in, you win the round anyway. You can't really hope for much more.
That's not what Renegades wanted to take that fight. They wanted Space Soldiers to be closer up to that pathway over towards CT spawn. They wanted them to be closer to the arches to really box him in. But when they're swinging wide that far back, it's really tough for Azza to get involved in the action, especially when his teammate jumped the gun just a little bit as they waited for the flashbang. And Space Soldiers obviously not wanting an AWP on this T side, which isn't the worst thing in the world. We've seen a lot of teams struggle with it, and they just choose to go away.
Yeah, this is bad news now for Renegades. Their economy going to be reset. Jacob probably able to save with that M4, but he'll be the only gun in the next round.
That peek from Nifty. Oh, he actually went down.
Okay.
What a blunder, as Henry would say.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is now this is dicey for Renegades. Back onto the USPs, not a whole lot of money. They've been wiped out. That's a couple small mistakes out of Renegades individually. I'm not sure Nifty was watching that angle for some time. He obviously didn't expect for a player to be at that angle when he kind of swung out unscoped to get picked off, and that's kind of when the defense just broke. The rotation over was good, and you could see Renegades wanted to time the rotation with some aggression and kind of peek that wrap side and be able to at least eliminate half the attack, and unfortunately it doesn't pan out for him whatsoever, but it's a good thought. It's a little mistimed.
5-man stack from the Renegades over on the A bomb site, and that has typically been where Space Soldiers have decided to go. They, a lot of the time, just putting that pressure on the B site early, but rotating off. They're not getting information into the B bomb site that's telling them to move over to A. They're just getting that pressure and then deciding that the A side is where they want to go. This time, however, we're seeing them start to peek into the B side a little bit more, so Renegades might have just played themselves a little bit in this round, giving it up for free.
Yeah, well, now Space Soldiers knows after that kind of a buy in the previous round, they know Renegades has nothing. They thought it was coming a round early, but now they're 100% certain. So they get a challenge. They get to be a little bit more bold as they just play contact and look for duels, AK against USP on their way in, and they're going to find themselves a free bomb site just under a minute in the round as the bomb gets planted. And Renegades, I guess your thought here is just kind of line up, hope they evacuate this way. Try and get some guns at the end, but Space Soldiers already reading it, and this is beautiful from Space Soldiers. Look at the mini-map. I mean, Despi's just spamming, but the rest of them have taken over CT spawn. They've really secured a route to get away from the bomb explosion. so that everyone can be safe. They don't even have to challenge beyond this point at Banana, and that's well done. It's one of those small details that you don't really appreciate too much until you lose 2 rifles at the end.
And a nice economy building round out for Space Soldiers as well. Major might go down there, but that is just the MAC-10. And Xantaras will be quite content cleaning things up here. But 4 guns through, 4 rifles. Really can't complain about that one too much for Space Soldiers. Their money's starting to look really good right now on the T side, and Renegades might even need to go for another eco here, particularly if they want that AWP out on Nifty.
I think they do. I think the next time Renegades has, wins a CT round, and this actually isn't bad. They're going to go for like a half investment or a half buy. But I think once they get the rifles out for the next time, they really need to establish some momentum. They really need to build this scoreline closer together and kind of go on a run, because Space Soldiers, if they buy here and they risk it with low utility at 3 to 6, then you've kind of given a chance for Space Soldiers to get up towards 10, 11 rounds. Here you can kind of stop them at 7 for a little bit and see what you can get out of the half.
With a bit of aggression here into apartments. Actually, there's 2 players. You still have to back him up, and that's a good little bit of a bonus for Renegades now coming into this round. An AK in Az's hands, and he has been quite impactful throughout this map so far, at least as far as Renegades is concerned. So not too bad to see him with the AK, but I'm sure that it'll be enough as Space Soldiers make their way towards the B bomb site.
That is a well-timed smoke if I've ever seen it. Space Soldiers all rotated to Banana. They were ready to hit that. They were ready to blow up at the first sign of contact. Even Ozzo was on the rotation for Renegades, but that was about to come in before that smoke plumes, and now you can see the delay tactics from Renegades are starting to really, really annoy Space Soldiers. 2 players atop Banana still, Xantaras and Paz. I think they just have to go back. They just want to maintain some kind of presence so that there's not a stack at the B bomb site, and they're at least accomplishing that. Haven't made a whole lot of noise, but Ozzo has come back towards A. Space Soldiers will be interesting to see where they decide to end up.
Well, a lot of the advantages out of this round for Renegades have just been off the back of those utilities. Like you said, the good smoke, the grenades in there, delaying things for Space Soldiers. Now, though, they're starting to run out. It's just the flashbangs here for Renegades, and they're going to be relying on the aim. But already getting a rotation over to the B bomb site. Perhaps a little bit of an error here for Renegades, or a misread. Space Soldiers make their way toward A, and it really is going to hinge on Ustillo now here in Boiler. He will go down. Space Soldiers should make a fairly clean entry, but the bomb dropped there by Azza with 17 seconds on the clock. Maybe there's something still in this one for the Renegades as they rotate across, and again the AK comes up big here for the Renegades. 4 versus 2. Now this is very doable. Azza having a good impact in the round, but Xantaras just stepping up. And in a 1 versus 1, Jacob with the M4, Desp with the AK. Slowing things down. There's a lot of time to work with here for Jacob. All the cards in the T side right now. There's nothing that Jacob can do. He doesn't even have a defuse kit, doesn't have a smoke, doesn't have a flashbang. This round should be going the way of Space Soldiers very shortly, and it will be. But a lot of damage done there by Renegades.
A lot of damage done, but I think Space Soldiers is fine with getting away with that round. Obviously, very, very scary. Really good performance from Azza. They just got pulled too far away towards that B bomb site. One player makes a big enough fake to pull essentially everyone but Ustillo over towards the other side of the map, and that's what provided the opening. That's gotta hurt, and obviously Xantaras with a couple nice shots just to hold this off for as long as humanly possible. I believe that was a 2-on-4
It was.
for the Space Soldiers. A very good win there, a very good recovery, I should say. But now, once again, the challenge. And Nifty with the AWP. He's going to be at that B bomb site, but he's just providing support. He's not going to take point, and Major just spamming through. Combining with the Molotov and the HE grenade, JKS goes down.
Well, this needs to be the turning point, really, for the Renegades. If they allow Space Soldiers to get much more out of this half, it's going to be very tough coming back into things, and it's just looking so good right now for Space Soldiers, isn't it? Xantaras, he will go down to Jacob, but gets a lot of damage done across there and has done his job. This is a little bit of a risky play from Jacob, but something like that needed to happen for Renegades if they were going to come back into this round. It doesn't work in the end for the CT side, but the round was more or less lost anyway. And this is looking disastrous even for Renegades.
Well, now Space Soldiers has money built up behind them. I mean, you know, it's easier to manage that economy, obviously, on the T side. So even those 4 kills Renegades gets with the CZs in the previous round don't really matter. Now Space Soldiers has the confidence and the cushion to be able to make some of these plays. You could see Major really challenging, and that play from Jacob, yeah, it might have been needed to get back into the round, but it certainly sealed the deal for Space Soldiers once he goes down, once he falls. Really good round from Major with 3 kills, and he's still on the hunt for more. Ustillo just hiding in A-holes in a corner. It's been his home for a lot of this half.
It's going to be tough for him to survive here. Space Soldiers are quite close by. We'll win that aim duel, which might keep him alive, but crosses the line. And so again, it's going to be another not particularly enjoyable round coming up ahead here for the Renegades.
Call it a battering, you know, call it exactly what it is. Space Soldiers run him over at that B bomb site. The aggression doesn't pan out from JKS initially, and there's nothing to fall back on for Renegades after that. So really good map being put together here for Space Soldiers on this T side, which has got to be worrying for Renegades in this best of one, these unforgiving group stage best of ones.
Should be another eco out here for Renegades.
I don't know if they can afford to eco, though. That's the tough part. You're down 3 to 8. I think you have to at least invest halfway. You have to go for another one of those CZ buys. And they almost won it previously, and they have the full losing bonus built up. So in the end of the things, it's not going to take a purchase away from them in the next round. They'll be getting that full $3,400 bonus.
Yeah, but that was off the back of a big individual play out from Azza.
So,
yeah. Not only getting that AK, but then making use of it as well, which is not something you can really rely on all the time.
You want to talk about big individual plays, or I mean, we can go back to actually. I was going to go the other way with it. The weak individual plays. You have Azza and Ustillo at 10 kills, Nifty at 5, JKS and Jacob at 3. JKS and Jacob are incredibly talented players. If they're going to be stuck on 3 kills, that's a big portion of this Renegades puzzle that's just missing.
Definitely a bit of a sore point for Renegades. Never seems like they can always get going all at the same time. And it's been a big problem for them in the past. But there's still time left in this map.
Now, this is a play from Ustillo. He has got an early flank down alt mid. He's wrapping all the way through the T-halls. He's getting so much information. It's allowed Nifty to cheat over towards this B bomb site. Azza's going to be watching rap side. And we're watching major issue commands. But Ustillo has all the reads. Unfortunately, Space Soldiers have slipped back up towards the A bomb site. If this flank doesn't come in and have impact now, it might be all over. Azza's the only line of defense here.
Well, he's got the information, but I don't know if the information is going to be enough. He'll get the kill on a major, but like you've said, really still too much work has been done by Space Soldiers. Unless Azza can get a couple here, or even just one, it's not going to be enough for the Renegades. Engine does shut down both Azza and Nifty, and it looked so good for a moment there for Renegades, but now Space Soldiers starting to stabilize. However, the wrap has come in for the CT side, and well, Space Soldiers, they've read the situation well. They know the B-bomb site is open, but they have allowed some guns to go into the hands of Renegades, and they have allowed a 3 versus 2, and Santara's a good flick. Jacob goes down. That might be just enough to save the round here for Space Soldiers.
One flashbang on JKS, and there it is. It's used, but actually Space Soldiers able to get back into relative safety. Ustillo's already through the smoke of that AK, but how do you challenge? Nice shot from JKS, and they might have just done it. Paz, he's got a lot of utility to decide how to use it. He's going to gun out for now. Going to go for the headshot. He finds the opening kill into Ustillo. Flashbang out, delaying for time. This is beautiful. That's a well-placed flashbang in JKS. He has to get this kill, and he's got to do it quick. Molotov going to come out onto the bomb, but no, it misses its mark. A chance for JKS still, but Paz is able to hold. A very nice 1-on-2 for him as Space Soldiers climb up to 9, and again, just so close for Renegades.
Exactly, that's been the story of this half, hasn't it, really, for Renegades? So close, yet so far. They've had a couple of very important rounds that could have gone their way, but Space Soldiers have managed to dig themselves out of that hole each and every time. That puts us at 3 and 9, and for Renegades, that's not the kind of a scoreline you want to be seeing on your CT side of Inferno. And it does allow Space Soldiers, again, just a massive advantage heading into the last few rounds here. Renegades, they're going to get a buy-through, but still their money just hasn't been able to build up on that CT side.
At this point, I think the money doesn't even necessarily matter. If you're Renegades, you just have to win. You have to get whatever you can for that second half. Obviously, I feel like you need at least 5 on the CT side to make it I mean, it's always possible, but to feel some level of comfort. Space Soldiers has been battering them out of that first initial streak of gun rounds for Renegades where they climbed up to 3 in a row. It's been all Space Soldiers. It's been dominant. 6 straight for them. And again, control of A-holes, control of Banana as Renegades. They've kind of been taught not to challenge too much. They've lost those opening fights quite frequently in these recent rounds. And that is a dirty position for Xantares.
Nifty's not going to have a very nice surprise ahead of him, but the timing, quite there for Paz, as well, he does push him back. So, what could have been there for Space Soldiers, another opening into the round, would have been lovely. They're going to be made to work for it, though. But grouping themselves up again towards the A-bomb site, and this has been really where they've had a lot of their success. This time Ustillo playing a little bit of a different position, which has not yet been utilized by the Renegades, and it does catch off Space Soldiers. Player advantage for Renegades now. This is a round that they absolutely need to convert.
This is a bold play for Major, but I like it. And he's got good positioning, but he's the only one on his team that's able to really accomplish anything. Des trying to track that down, not able to do it. Major with his 1 kill with that AWP, got plenty more. Yustillo still boosted up. He hasn't given it. There's the shot, but it misses. And Yustillo's just going to pin him down in the brackets. And Xantares is the only one left as he tries to sneak in towards the B bomb site. Finally, some life out of Renegades for the first round of 6.
4-9 though, we need to see a little bit more of that from the Renegades if we're going to be getting a competitive scoreline in this first half. I would say, like you said, I mean, you said they need to go 5. I think 6 is really obviously where they want to be.
I mean, obviously you want as many as possible, right? 6 is kind of the most they can, or is definitely the most they can get, but 5 is where you are like, okay. We can work with this one.
Even if we lose the pistol, maybe we've got some rounds to play with. But again, Renegades, if they lose this round, I mean, the money's gone. They'll get a kind of a force buy through in the next, but realistically, every single round out from here on is very, very important for Renegades, not just economically speaking, but in order to get those rounds on the board as well.
He still has climbed up to 16 kills in this game. He's having a very, very good individual performance. Hasn't been reflected in the overall score of this game, though. 4-9 as Space Soldiers continue to try and build. This time, fast-paced triple nade over towards Jacob, and down to 3 HP. Nice idea from Space Soldiers. It's bold and it almost pays off.
Does force him off the angle, so he's now sitting in the bomb site, which means the crossfire might not be quite as strong for Renegades. Looks like they're going for the boost here. It's actually Jacob that's going to be boosted.
Why not? 3 HP, giving him advantage, and even JKS playing in the other corner, trying to bait them into Jacob if they do eventually hit here. No indication yet the end game for Space Soldiers in this round. Nifty towards Rap side with that AWP, just holding for top middle. He's going to be denied information. He's going to take a shot. That gives away his position. Azza in the bomb site, Yustillo in the pit. Solid defense for this Renegades at the A bomb site, but they're going to go back towards B. Jacob again just wounded, boosted up.
Yeah, this one would argue is the weaker site for Renegades, given that Jacob is very low, like you've said, but there is quite a bit of utility still available here for the Renegades, so a late incendiary does come out, forcing Space Soldiers just to take a moment. JKS can't compose himself long enough, but Jacob has got 2. If he can survive even another 5 seconds for the Renegades, that's going to allow the rotation across. The big play, though, is going to be Major, trying to deny that rotation. He knows where Nifty is, and now he's spotted out Azza as well. This could be all disaster for the Renegades, though he is traded out by Nifty. Still 2v2 on that site. Space Soldiers have got that bomb down, and Renegades haven't held on long enough.
Nifty and Yustillo each have 1 flashbang, and you feel like Nifty's got to find some space for him to use his safely into the site to allow Yustillo to push forward. That's exactly what comes in. Engine's blind, but his teammate Paz is not. In the dark corner, there's the pre-fire, and he actually almost takes that kill down, but he can't find the follow-up, and Nifty, he's just got to save this, but he's almost committed too far forward. He's going to get around the corner before they peek again. Space Soldiers going to secure the win, going to secure their 10th. And it's a disaster for Renegades as they can't hold on. 1 in a row for their just 1 round win for them. So this is now turned into a 7-1 run for Space Soldiers.
Yeah, at the very least, we're going to be able to see a buy through here for Renegades. They've got enough money to force a couple of rifles. Nifty can drop 1.
I think he actually bought nades instead. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I think he dropped the UMP as well.
Maybe dropped a UMP, yeah.
But regardless, the buy is not awful for Renegades, which is better than they probably could have hoped for, given how this half has been going.
Yeah, this is scary for Renegades. They've had a very, very tough half, and we'll see. I mean, in kind of this build-up of Renegades becoming more and more of a force in these tournaments, they've been able to grind some of the games out that they previously in the past haven't been able to. This is a tall ask.
Well, they were able to do it against Mouse Sports. Who's to say they can't do it against Space Soldiers?
Oh, I think Nifty, not on 50 kills. Kind of, you know, prevents that same kind of comeback.
To be fair, this is exactly where Nifty was at this point as well against Mouse Sports. So there's still another half left.
All right.
Don't call me biased.
Still faith in the Aussie boys. Well, Jacob's going to walk right into a bullet. That's not a good start.
Definitely not. And we're probably going to see a little bit of aggression out here from Yustillo into the apartments as well. Try and find some information, try and find something back for Renegades in this round. And if he does do that, he's going to be walking potentially straight into his death. Although he decides to play a little bit safer. Nifty was the one that pushed the aggression, and he's solo on this B bomb site, very low on HP. And forced back. It's just going to deny the information and force the rotation here from Renegades, leaving the A site very weak.
The 3 rounds early on that Renegades was able to go on a streak, 4, 5, and 6. They were able to deny a lot of this map control from Space Soldiers. They were able to make it really costly to take control of Banana. They haven't been able to do that same thing. Azza in a really tough position to fall away. Obviously not even possible. Yustillo is going to challenge, and he goes down as well. And there goes JKS. A powerful round from Space Soldiers, and that is a statement of a half. 11-4 for the Turkish team over the Renegades.
Yeah, this is an uphill battle for the Renegades, like what we saw at IEM Sydney. But it's definitely still workable for them. I mean, they need the pistol round, I think that's fair to say. But it's not over until the fat lady sings. That's the beauty of Counter-Strike, right?
Listen, she's warming up the vocals right now. She's in the back. This is going to be real tough for Renegades. I know you still have the faith. This is, as you said, this is kind of where Nifty was against Mouse Sports, and they had to make that comeback happen. We'll see if he's got another one in him. It's going to be very difficult, and obviously the pistol round is where it all begins. Utility on Azza and Nifty themselves. They're going to take control of Banana, or at least attempt to. Major and Xanter's here, and there's actually Engine playing with the pop flash ready to go back in the B bomb site. There it is, but there actually wasn't any pressure from the Renegades at that point, so that's all the utility gone for Space Soldiers. No kit as well for them.
Yeah, quite reserved so far from the Renegades as well, just slowly starting to take control of the map, not necessarily pressuring anything too much, but Space Soldiers with a lot of information on Banana now, starting to push towards Car and having a look down towards the T-stairs. They know there's not much going on over there. It's going to allow them to float the extra CT over to the A bomb site, and Paz opening things up nicely. Actually gets out of there alive as Renegades really struggling now to get those entries on the side. As I say that though, JKS comes up with the goods and Nifty getting involved as well. All of a sudden looks much better for the Renegades, but it definitely could have gone the other way.
I cannot believe Paz actually got away. I thought he was going to build at least one more upon that. You want to talk about how tough it is to win a pistol round at the A bomb, so you can hold that thought actually as Xanter's. We know he can actually do this. A couple low HP players, not a lot of time. He's been spotted out now, and this is where the crossfires come into play as well. You can see him having to consider pit. Space Soldiers actually had 3 players. Engine had rotated back in time, and actually even Major got there as a 4th player before the bomb even goes down. So you want to think about Renegades only having 2 players at the A bomb side and their pistol round on the CT side, and then Space Soldiers essentially having 3 to 4 players there when the hit comes in, and how difficult it is to actually hold that bomb site. You can see why only 2 players is just so tough.
Definitely still a scary pistol round for Renegades. And we're going to see, or we're going to, or at least in my case, we're going to hope to see a little bit more out from Renegades, a little bit more safety perhaps in a round like this. So Space Soldiers going for the full eco, so it shouldn't be too much of a contest for them in this round, Renegades. And naturally the next round, one would imagine, Space Soldiers not going to invest too much into that either. But once we get into the actual gun round for Space Soldiers, if they save these next 2, they're going to have a lot of cash to play with.
The gamble comes in, as you kind of have to do with this sort of a purchase. 5 players over at this B bomb site. And Renegades is just very quiet across the map, looking for any sort of play, listening for any sort of information, and they're actually going to readjust over towards the B bomb site. Space Soldiers, they don't know it yet, but they're going to be so happy, and this could be dangerous. The USP is hard to convert some of these kills.
Even still with 5, or I suppose at this point 4 players over on that side of the map, particularly that double boost. This could well catch Renegades off guard. The smoke's going to come into the CT spawn, but we need to see Renegades hitting their shots right now, and that's exactly what they've done. Crisis might have been averted there, but still, it made me a little bit worried for a moment.
We built that up as if there was going to be some element of danger, and Renegades just drive-bys everyone. Those UMPs doing some work. Major's actually got some nice dinks. He's got himself a 2nd kill, and the follow-up bullet to the forehead for Yustillo. But still, well managed from Renegades, avoiding disaster. 6-11 as they get closer and closer to striking distance.
Closer, but not quite there. So it's still early days really for Renegades. Obviously they've started off the second half how they would have wanted to.
I love this economic decision from Space Soldiers to just go full USPs in that round. And even this one, they have the CZs, they have some smokes, but they're not investing in armor. That means with this kind of a lead, the 4th round is the important one. To get on the board when the guns come out is really what you have to do on the CT side. And you're going to have, if you're Space Soldiers, all the utility you could possibly need in order to do it. So it's a really cool decision. We don't see it too often. But having those extra smokes, the Molotov, maybe just a couple kits on the board is going to give you so much more freedom to make decisions in the mid-round, in the late-round scenarios.
And on the Renegade side, slow and steady wins the race, at least on their T side. as they're making sure that they just clear everything out. Use that utility, use those advantages that they do have. And now Banana is in their control. Floating the bomb over in that direction as well. Renegades putting a bit more of a premium on the B side of the map, at least early round. It's not a bad idea as well, given Space Soldiers right now, we can see they've got 4 on A.
Renegades, Ustilo's going to just peek up and fire off some shots, not forcing any rotation, not forcing any kind of movement from Space Soldiers. It's Engine. He's going to be all alone at this B bomb site. He does have a CZ, no utility. I think Renegades is going to have a pretty easy round here. Last time they did it with 4 players from Space Soldiers. This time they only need to deal with 1. But to be fair, he also does have a CZ, so we know that can get dicey.
Yeah, and playing close as well. Renegades might suspect that he's been forced off the angle by the molly, but we'll see if they decide to check it. Indeed, Jacob does. Almost goes down, but in the end, that's the kill that Renegades needed to get this round in their favor. And realistically, now we just, I guess, wait.
Yep, they've already won it, so the rest of Space Soldiers going to push up towards these halls, over towards the A bomb site, going to wrap around towards alt mid, try and find an AK-47. That's kind of the goal, just get one of those rifles. Seems like Renegades is wary of the fact that this might happen as Ustilo crawls the underpass and he gets taken down, and that's an AK-47 out in the open. And even Jacob with low HP cannot challenge for it, and actually they're going to get away with one. And actually, no, he's not being blocked in. That's just a portion of the map. But that's a win in itself. And actually a follow-up. There's another AK-47 down, and Nifty, he's got to hold this, and he does. That could have been costly, and that Renegades has got to be careful. I highlighted this as well in the first half. Space Soldiers, the exact same round, and they all evacuate together towards CT spawn as one unit. This time, Renegades, they lose 2 players right after the round is essentially over, after they've already won it. They give away an AK-47, which is going to allow more money to stay in the hands of Space Soldiers, and a bigger element of danger with the AK over the M4. So, I mean, that Space Soldier exit is looking much, much prettier.
Yeah, every little bit counts, and that's the kind of thing that you look at as the Renegades and go, well, that could have been done a little bit better. It's not the end of the world, they still win the round, but every tiny little advantage that they give over to Space Soldiers here is going to compound upon itself, and when you're down 7-11, compounding mistakes and compounding errors aren't going to be too fun for you. That's a good opening to this first gun round for Space Soldiers as well. It's Az is down, and he was a very dangerous player on the Renegade side in the first half.
Nice challenge from Paz. That's a risky peek in this 4th round, but he goes for it anyways. Really well done. Nifty still with an AK-47. Didn't invest in the AWP, so there was no op on the T side to challenge Paz. Bomb is down back towards T spawn. JKS has position in the halls. Same with Ustilo at the top of Boiler Stairs. They're controlling this portion of the map, but 3 players here for Space Soldiers. Paz and Major getting enough information at top mid brackets as well, knowing they're not being challenged quite yet. First, it's going to be Nifty and Jacob towards the B bomb, so they're going to be held off by a smoke, though, and they threw plenty of their own, and Space Soldiers getting aggressive behind it, and even Zenter's finding a crack in the smoke so he can have all the information, which allows his teammates to stay pretty solid over towards the A bomb site. No one hesitating, as Major still has control and Paz is still here.
Nifty's still there trying to do something on the B bomb site, but inevitably it is going to come down to how this entry to the A site does work for Renegades. Nifty's got himself an interesting position here, though. Through the smoke in CT spawn, could wrap towards A, or just hold off this rotate. But again, still, it comes down to the A bomb site right now for Renegades. They need to get in there, and then potentially Nifty can do something, but that's just not happened at all. I mean, Nifty does go down in the end, so it doesn't matter, but even those first couple of kills basically shut the round down for Space Soldiers, and Renegades just can't get anything done.
No, they really can't. And that round came down to Renegades holding their nerve and allowing time for Nifty to have that flank. And there wasn't a whole lot of time for him to make it happen. I think they got taken down. They started to make their move around 15 seconds, and they were still far away from the bomb site. So you knew they had to kind of start moving, and that's the thing. Nifty finds that cool seam in the defense, and he's if there's more time on the clock, he can make such a massive play. He can probably win that round for Renegades, but that time was just so much against him. That's tough. That's a clean win for Space Soldiers as well, which is even the scarier thing. They survive with 4 players on the board, which means they can build up plenty of money and start to really secure this defensive economy. Nice hold from Paz as he notices the flank from Nifty, and it's 12-7.
Yeah, definitely having a good impact to start things off with that AWP. Didn't see it at all on the T side for Space Soldiers. So CT side, different beast. Now for Renegades, they've got another buy through, but this will be their last. If they do lose this one, we're up to 13 for Space Soldiers. 14 probably comes up there as well, and so Renegades really staring down the barrel of defeat then if they do end up losing this round. A very critical one for them. And remember, this is a best of one. They drop this, they go down to the lower bracket where at the moment it's looking very likely they're going to be facing Greyhounds. Interesting map that would be, but for now, still focusing on trying to get rid of Space Soldiers.
I think the fat lady's getting ready to make her appearance. There's a nice shot from Paz. Ustilo goes down. He had a phenomenal first half, but been quiet here so far. And the Renegades, they really have nothing left to do but hit this bomb site. Major is pushed towards the bottom of Banana. He's got all the intel. Xanteras is rotating over. Engine's going to be watching Rap in conjunction with him. And this could be huge. There's the peaky spots one. He knows Oz is there waiting for a pop flash from a teammate, but I don't know if that's Paz one. He throws it just now, and the peek towards Rap side, it's clear, and Xanteras peeks from an angle Ozza isn't ready for. Still Major is not pressured. Still Renegades is bottlenecked over towards lane.
Just the perfect read for Space Soldiers right now. Renegades just, there's no way for them to get into this site unless they manage to win some aim duels, which is exactly what they're not doing so far on this T side. Space Soldiers once again another, well, this time even more of a perfect round out for them. Not just 4 guns saved through 5. And Renegades now look at their economy, they're absolutely shot.
It's a very slow start for Renegades. They don't seem to be that Renegades that we know to be a danger in the international scene. They're not forcing any mistakes out of Space Soldiers. They're not doing anything to make them feel uncomfortable. You can just see they're all willing to hold their angles, play far back, allow Renegades to get that kind of control. There's not enough trades coming in to punish any of these passive angles. And Space Soldiers put in together a very good game on Inferno as Renegades force back to the Glocks.
Renegades will be staring down 14 at the end of this round, one would assume. Space Soldiers deciding not to do anything too risky in this round, just getting some control of Banana, getting passive on the A-bomb side as well, waiting for Renegades to come to them. That's not necessarily a bad decision right now. No need to be walking into anything when you have the utility advantage, the gun advantage. Just make the plays like that, the safe plays. So you just start things off.
Yeah, just preserve the economy is the name of the game. Don't lose too many players, and I think they're going to be in danger of that. This is well handled from Space Soldiers, JKS and Boiler. Only a Glock, it's an immediate dink, but Desp responds with a headshot of his own, and it's just down to Ozza, who gets wiped off the map. 14-7. The Space Soldiers looking to have a dominant victory off the back of Major's 22-11 performance as we get one last timeout coming in for Renegades.
Fair bit to be talking about now. Nifty could afford the AWP. Oh, no, he can't.
No,
I misread.
It's okay.
I don't know if he would necessarily want to be going for it anyway on the T side.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. I mean, even if he could, let's, you know what, screw it. Let's not even talk about the hypothetical. Let's just say what they have. They need to focus on trading of some sort. They need to have multiple players being aggressive. We've seen a couple times the entry fragger going in well early. No one's really there to trade them. A lot of times they've actually, I mean, maybe not a lot because we've had a pretty short second half so far, but, you know, Paz has done a good job of picking a couple players off before the hits even come in, I believe. Major even had an opening kill once. And when there's not a follow-up to that opening kill, all of a sudden Renegades is playing a 4-on-5, and even the trade game doesn't work for them just because they're that man down. So they've got some questions answered. I think here you have to kind of just say, backs against the wall, stay grouped up, don't get too fancy, don't do this spread out default that's getting you picked off. Go for something as a group, as just a one big death ball, and as I say that, a couple nades ruin the day of Nifty and Ozza. Now the Molotov is going to come out, force them forward into the arms of Engine. A great transfer over, and all of a sudden Renegades are out of this round. Even the spam through almost punishing Nifty.
Everything Space Soldiers touches right now is turning into gold. It doesn't get any worse for Renegades, does it? As the Incendiary finishes off Nifty as well. The round's over before it even started, really, for the T side. And Space Soldiers just completely shutting this one down with their utility. Ustilo kind of makes things interesting, but...
The bomb location.
Exactly. Renegades don't have the bomb. If they had the bomb here, maybe they can get it down. Maybe they can play that 2v4 post plant, but it's just not an option right now for Renegades.
And the bomb has dropped far back. Obviously, that's supposed to be like Nifty going back to get that after they've secured Banana control. Space Soldiers doesn't know it, so a chance here. They line up for JKS, and that's beautiful. 2 kills, but Engine's there to get 4 in the round. A brawl on Rap side goes in the favor of Space Soldiers. Did get a bit dicey there, but really not a whole lot that Renegades could do. 7-15, and now you just have to invest whatever you possibly can. CZs are out, Deagles are out, as Renegades try to make this comeback, or even get it started. Paz is going to have the AWP. This is a really nice start from Engine. That Molotov forcing Jacob and Ozza forward. And then right into his arms at the end, Ustilo and JKS swing out on Rap side.
Well, 15 up for Space Soldiers. No chances left now for the Renegades. And Nifty going to play aggressively with the CZ. Paz waiting for him. JKS is going to be the one to go down, and he will be overwhelmed in the end, but now Nifty is the last one left alive. Has got himself an AWP, and we need to see a little bit more magic out from Nifty now. We saw it a lot against Mousesports, and this is a massive task ahead of him now. As his position is known, Space Soldiers on the rotation, they know where the bomb is. And Nifty, can he be able to do this? Surely not. In the end, Space Soldiers close it out 16-7. Renegades not displaying too much for us there.
Oh, they've got to be frustrated. That was a very uninspired, lackluster performance from them. We didn't see a whole lot. Obviously battered on their defensive side, only able to win 4 rounds. The Renegades, Space Soldiers go on such a huge run in that first half, and that pretty much sealed it to begin with. You're not going to make too many comebacks on Inferno from the T side and that kind of a nature. So nicely done from Space Soldiers. Big individual performance from Major. I think we've kind of got our first indication of what this Space Soldiers team is going to look like with the Ringer involved.
Yeah, well, looking pretty good. Definitely better than what we've seen from them at LAN events recently. So good signs ahead here for Space Soldiers. Not so for the Renegades as they drop down into the lower bracket, and we'll hand it back over to our analyst desk.
Thank you so much, gents. Yes, a 16-7 stomping, getting to see perhaps an out-of-characteristic performance from Madja, Engin pulling his work as well, and just everyone putting in the necessary hours and the necessary...
Getting the appropriate pronunciations, aren't we? What is it, with earrings?
His second name means with earrings.
Yeah.
Madja. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I've been having, we just had a kind of essentially a Turkish lesson.
Yeah.
It was great.
And Renegades had a Turkish lesson as well there, Alex, because
they did.
I said they were going to fall flat after their performance in Sydney, and they definitely did. I think there's no excuse for that kind of performance. If you want to be a top 10 team in the world, you have to be consistent, and going up against the Space Soldiers with a stand-in, that should be a gimme day in, day out.
It should be. And Jacob, I mean, Renegades go from... overtime, massive performance, admittedly, from Nifty, but versus some of the best teams in the world, or one of the best teams, arguably, in the world, to now finding themselves struggling to be Space Soldiers.
And that's a problem, as Chad alluded to. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to be able to deliver the same play and the same approach every single game. And as we saw here, it was very lackluster, especially from Nifty as well. He is the guy that were pulling them back into that game in the OT game and gave them a chance to win it. And in this game, he was just not consistent enough. And that's one of the things when you talk about Nifty being such a great player. It's his consistency that is lacking right now. He could be better.
Yeah, with the highlight here on screen, this was the 4th round, and it was like, well, we're going to get a repeat, you know? It's going to be the AWP from the A side all over again, but it tapered off very quickly, and I'm very impressed with Space Soldiers on the T side getting so many rounds. I think, adding a stand-in on a map that can be pretty systematical, like Inferno, you need to take map territory, you need to wait out utility. Basic executes, everyone should know the smokes and Molotovs, but even to have the cohesion to be able to take on a Renegades who I think most people would have said were the favorites coming into this one if you don't know them personally, then it shouldn't have gone down that way is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Sorry, I forgot to press the magic button.
I can take it if you want to. There we go. So we've got a couple more highlights here on the screen, Jacob, before we get into the nitty-gritty, but I don't know if this is a space. This is another one. It's like the last matchup that we had. It's like, well, we don't know where everybody stands. Heroic still won the game. Space Soldiers won this one, but it's not a test at this point. I think you need to see them with a few more games, a few harder opponents to actually be able to tell what version of these teams we're getting in the tournament.
I mean, that's fair enough. I think Renegades as well, not necessarily the strongest of starters. We haven't always seen them kind of start the tournament off with a flying, absurd result. And so this one, perhaps nothing to be too forgotten about. I do think what's interesting here as well, Jacob, and we will talk more about Inferno, but they play Greyhound next, and that's by no means a guarantee. Like, that's actually very interesting. Conversation perhaps for another time.
Yeah, it could be a close game as well. And for Renegades, it's just not, as you said, it's not good enough to come into a tournament like this after such a great showing in Sydney and not do better than this. On the other hand, I want to say, though, that it's a great sign for Space Soldiers, coming in and finally getting a good start on lane. We have had so high expectations of them coming into the past events where they didn't really deliver the level that we kind of wanted them to do. And now finally they seem to be playing up to par. As you said, we don't know what version we're getting yet. It's still early, but it's better than what we've seen in the past.
When we saw them in the best of ones at the major, though, they were impressive in the best of ones, right? They obviously had some matches that could have gone either way, but when we get into the best of 3 territory, that's when they're going to really be tested, because at that point, how much practice could they have possibly had with this stand-in? It is super last minute. It's Calix couldn't get the visa. Obviously, Despi's been able to get in there. He's able to rock up. They've played together before. So there's those factors to look at.
Just remove a little bit of pressure from them, though. And that may have been the biggest problem for them, that we had so high expectations for them going into the lane events because they were so good online.
Probably did too.
They probably did themselves too, and now finally, you know, they know they have a stand-in, they have no pressure, and if they fail this event, they have an excuse for it, which may help them.
And the amount of times we've seen that in action in Counter-Strike, you know, suddenly the underdog has this pressure release. There's like a pressure release valve. Look at the grand finals of Sydney.
Exactly.
FaZe.
Isn't that horrible that we look at it like that and it's just a mental switch that stops the team from either being really good or really bad?
Yeah, we actually had an opportunity. Perhaps some of those questions can be answered now from Major himself. He had a fantastic performance and they got themselves their first win in the upper bracket now, where they will be meeting Team Liquid. Looks like Stunner's managed to grab him.
I have managed to grab him. Thanks a lot, Alex. As always, I appreciate you. But more importantly, we should appreciate this win right here from the Space Soldiers. Obviously coming out on top over the Renegades. Talk to me a little bit about the preparation. It's some interesting stuff going on within the camp.
Well, to be honest, the preparation was not so well because we knew at the last moment that Calix has a visa issue. Thankfully, it's a very good tournament because we had a PC yesterday, so we worked a lot yesterday with Despe. It's been a long time we didn't play with Despe. He's our 6th player. That was not very good preparation, but we did our best yesterday. And I want to thank him personally, Despe, because he was very good today, and it was not easier for him to be joined at this tournament. So.
Well, he's definitely stepped up and filled a void here, whereas I think one question, at least on my mind, is how exactly do you slot him into this lineup now that, you know, he's had to come in, he's had to step up? Does he just pick up all the roles where Calix was? Like, how does that all break down?
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about it. And my last decision was to keep the teams and put him in the same position that Calix. First, I think to put him in the better position, like his role, putting in further. But in the last moment, the team was more important. So he just took all the position of Calix, and I show Calix yesterday show him a lot of utility in Inferno because I planned Inferno for me, it was very sure Inferno. So we did a one-shot poker all-in on Inferno. Yeah, we didn't work any other map with him. And I'm happy that it worked today.
Yeah, it looks like you guys do have it together. You're going to be going on to a winner's match later. But of course, congratulations. And we're going to be catching up with the Space Soldiers later on down the road. But for now, let's go back to the desk. Alex, take it away, bud.
Thank you very much. And for not necessarily the first time, but our analysts actually get something they can work with from an interview. Congrats.
Yeah, I really love hearing Major's interviews because it's always
candid.
Yeah, there's so much in depth, you learn a lot. And the fact that the last bit, the in-depth bit about going all in on that veto on Inferno, was that's the only map that they thought they'd be playing and they prepped only that map. That's such a gambit play. That's such a risk, right? Like if that didn't pan out and Renegades played a riskier veto, then they may have been in trouble. But something that I want to talk about is the fact that he said he last minute decided to slot him into Calix's roles. That makes sense, and I look at that from a team perspective. And something which else is kind of cool is as the event progresses, it gives them flexibility because he obviously has his own strengths and they can change things up on the fly. If things aren't working, they actually have another tool. It's like, hey, dude, you know, do you want to swap positions? Maybe you're good at entry fragging onto this bomb site. There's a few more bits and pieces which can come into play. Plus, with Jacob bringing up about the pressure situation, things could look good for Space Soldiers.
And just before we do head to a break, Jacob, does that feel like the right decision when integrating a new player last minute? Just carbon copy, hey, this is where you're playing on this map, and just kind of hope things go okay?
But a team's perspective, I would always do like that, yeah. You want the team to be comfortable, you want the team to do their stuff, and then you want the stand-in to be able to fill in. When I stood in for Astralis, there was the same thing, you know, you just go in there, you take their spots, device spot there was, and just play them, you know, and do...
They're good spots to take, though, aren't they?
Good spots to take, though, so I was fine by that, but it did very work as well, where I got, I think it was easy tech spots, can't remember that actually. Anyway, it depends on the stand-in as well. Like, if he's very versatile in a scenario and he can play those spots, then it doesn't matter. But if you get a stand-in that is not able to do that, then you may want to rethink that once again. So it sounds to me that Major has confidence in Despe's abilities to be a versatile player, and that's a great sign for Space Soldiers going into the tournament.
And it's a great sign for Counter-Strike fans around the world that you've got that game next. Liquid versus Space Soldiers is coming up a little bit later in the upper bracket, but up next, SK Gaming versus NIP.
Juicy.
Now that's a juicy nugget of Counter-Strike, and it's coming up straight after this.